Chapter 14. Similes. Future and Past Rebirths. Subhuti asked, if a bodhisattva, on merely hearing it, immediately believes in this deep perfection of wisdom, does not become cowed, stolid, paralyzed, or stupefied, does not doubt or hesitate, but delights in perfect wisdom, where has he deceased? Where is he reborn? The Lord said, if a bodhisattva reacts in such a way to the perfection of wisdom, if he or she delights in seeing and hearing it, bears it in mind and develops it, keeps his or her mind fixed on it without diverting it elsewhere, feels an urge to take it up, bear it in mind, preach, study, and spread it, if once he or she has heard of perfect wisdom, he or she follows and pursues the reciter of Dharma and does not let him go until he or she knows this perfection of wisdom by heart, or has got it in the form of a book, just as a cow does not abandon her young calf, then this bodhisattva has deceased among men and will be reborn among men. Subhuti said, could a bodhisattva who is endowed with just these qualities have deceased in other Buddha fields before he was reborn here? The Lord said, it is quite possible that a bodhisattva who was endowed with these qualities has, before he was reborn here, deceased in other Buddha fields, where he has honored and questioned the Buddhas and Lords. Or he may also have deceased among the Tushita gods. It may be that he has honored Maitreya, the bodhisattva, and persistently questioned him concerning this perfection of wisdom. Past deeds of a bodhisattva who fails in perfect wisdom. On the other hand, if a bodhisattva in the past has heard this deep perfection of wisdom, but has asked no questions about it, and if later on, when he is reborn among men and hears this deep perfection of wisdom being taught, he hesitates and is stupefied and cowed, then one can be sure that in the past also he was one of those who were unwilling to ask questions. Another bodhisattva, again, may in the past have had the right attitude to this deep perfection of wisdom for 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 days, and now only for a certain time he has faith in it. But afterwards it is withdrawn again, and he no longer feels like asking questions about it. For it is a fact that if a bodhisattva has in the past not all the time asked questions about this deep perfection of wisdom, and has not pursued it all the time, then later on he would at some time feel urged to pursue the hearing of this deep perfection of wisdom, but not so at other times. He would again fall from his faith, become disheartened, and his intelligence would become unsteady, like cotton wool. One can be sure that such a bodhisattva has but lately set out in the vehicle. Come but lately to the vehicle, he will lose his faith in it, his serene confidence in it, his urge for it. In other words, he will no further take up this deep perfection of wisdom and pursue it. One must expect that he will move on either of 2 levels, on the level of a disciple or on the level of a Pratyeka Buddha. 4. Similes. When a ship is wrecked in the middle of the ocean, people will die in the water without getting to the shore, if they do not find support on a log or plank or other solid body. But those who manage to gain such a support will not die in the water. Safely and unhindered, they will cross over to the shore beyond and stand unhurt and uninjured on firm ground. In the same way, a bodhisattva who is endowed with but a little faith, just a little serene confidence, just a little affection, just a little desire to do, and who does not gain support of perfect wisdom, is bound to incur a fall in the middle of a bad road, and, without having attained to the state of all knowledge, he will stand in discipleship or Pratyeka Buddhahood. Different is the case of a bodhisattva who has faith in it, accepts it patiently, has a taste for it, has desire to do, vigor, vigilance, resolve, earnest intention, renunciation, a title to be respected, joyous zest, elation, serene confidence, affection for it, and persistence in trying to win full enlightenment, and who also gains the support of the perfection of wisdom. Having attained the perfection of wisdom, he or she will stand in all knowledge. If one would use a badly baked jar to carry water in, that jar would not last long, would actually quickly fall to pieces and melt away. For in its unbaked condition, it would actually soon come to an end on the ground. Just so, although a bodhisattva may have all the qualities enumerated above, from faith to a persistent desire to win enlightenment, as long as he or she is not taken hold of by perfect wisdom and skill in means, he or she is bound to come to a bad fall in the middle of a bad road. In other words, he or she will fall to the level of a disciple or pratyeka Buddha. But if someone would carry water from a river or lake or a pond or a well or any other water-bearing place in a well-baked jar, then that jar will, with the water, get safely and uninjured to the house, just because of the well-baked condition of that jar. Just so, a bodhisattva who has not only the qualities enumerated above, but who in addition also has been taken hold of by perfect wisdom and skill in means, will not in the middle of a bad road incur a fall, and unhurt and uninjured he or she will stand in all knowledge. A stupid man would launch into the water a seafaring vessel which was not caulked or repaired, and had been tied to its moorings for a long time, would overload it with goods, and mount on it and set out in it. His ship is doomed to collapse before it has conveyed the goods across the water. When his ship has burst asunder, that stupid merchant, who is unskilled in means, will have lost a huge fortune, a great source of wealth. Just so, a bodhisattva who has all the qualities enumerated above, but who lacks in perfect wisdom and skill in means, without having gained the wealth of all knowledge, he or she is bound to collapse midway, to incur a fall. He has lost a great deal of his own wealth, and he has also lost a great deal of the wealth of others, because he has lost all knowledge, which is like a huge fortune and a great source of wealth, not to mention his collapse in the middle of the bad road, his fall into the level of disciple or pratyeka Buddhahood. An intelligent merchant, on the other hand, would construct a solid ship, would launch it with proper care into the water, load it with goods and distribute them evenly, and with a favorable wind his vessel would gradually sail to the country which is the goal of his voyage. His ship will not collapse in the water. It will go to where it is meant to go, and the merchant will win great wealth in the shape of worldly jewels. Likewise, a bodhisattva who has faith and the other qualities enumerated above, and who in addition has been taken hold of by perfect wisdom, and does not lack in skill and means, it is certain that he or she will not collapse in the middle of a bad road, that he or she will not incur a fall, that he or she will stand in supreme enlightenment. For it is a fact that if a bodhisattva has faith and the other qualities enumerated above, and if, in addition, these dharmas of his have been taken hold of by perfect wisdom, and are not lacking in skill and means, then they will not hasten toward the level of a disciple or pratyeka Buddha, but, on the contrary, these dharmas will face in the direction of all knowledge, and they will set out for it, and they will conduce to the winning of full enlightenment. If a person were very aged, advanced in years, decrepit, say 120 years old, and if he would fall ill in his body, could he rise from his bed without being taken hold of by others? Subhuti said, No, Lord. The Lord said, And even if he could rise from his bed, he would certainly not have the strength to walk about for half a mile. Wasted by both old age and illness, he could not walk about for any length of time, even if he could rise from his bed. Likewise, even if a bodhisattva has all the qualities enumerated above, If he has not been taken hold of by perfect wisdom, and is lacking in skill and means, then, although he may have set out for full enlightenment, he is nevertheless bound to collapse in the middle of a bad road. He is bound to incur a fall. In other words, he will stand on the level of disciple or pratyeka Buddha. This is a necessary consequence of the fact that he has not been taken hold of by perfect wisdom, and that he lacks in skill and means. But it may be that two strong men take hold of that old and sick man, and carefully lift him up, and promise him that he may go wherever he wishes, and as far as he wishes, because they will assist him, and he need not fear to fall on the way which takes him to the place which he has to go. In the same way, a bodhisattva who has faith, etc., and who is assisted by perfect wisdom and endowed with skill and means, he or she is certain not to collapse in the middle of a bad road. He or she will not incur a fall. He or she is able to reach this station, that is, the station of full enlightenment.